DirtyRooster Off-Road, TGIF. Thank God it's Friday. And thank God these this package from Mud-busters showed up today, so I can get them installed before the Memorial Day weekend. Got a couple different rides that we're gonna get out and do, and the machine is freshly cleaned up and lathered up with SC1. So definitely want to get these on before we go get it muddy all over again. Some time ago, I published a video that was best Razor XP 1000 mod for under $100, and that's when we put the bezels on. Basically to keep mud out of those stock bezels. They only had the frog skins on one side, and now we've got turbo style bezels that have frog skins on the outside and on the inside. That made a big difference as far as having to stop and clean out the frog skins because the machine couldn't breathe. But on that thread, a couple guys chimed in, subscribers to the channel. Always appreciate input from everybody for sure. But David Shaver and James 4-wheel drive, they both recommended get some Mud-busters. Now, haven't really been a fan of the look of Mud-busters in the past, but certainly understand their functionality. And I figured, hey, you know, why not? I looked them up online, the Mud-busters brand. I didn't want to mess with anybody else. I wanted to stick with the guys that's what they do. Ordered these from sidebysidestuff.com. There was a little delay in the shipping, you know, based upon all this COVID crap going on. But hey man, I got them today, so I'm stoked about that. So without further ado, let's get these things opened up. So this appears to be a front based upon the spacing of these holes, and the top surface, the surface that everybody's going to see, that has some texture to it, and then the bottom is nice and smooth so that the mud releases when you're cleaning up your machine. Here's the other front. We've got a rear. You can see they've got a little, you know, Mud-busters logo engraved in there. Nice touch. Gotta watch those staples on here. Pretty much damn near cut my finger. So that was awesome. Moved the camera. And then in the bottom here, we've got our hardware kit and our instructions. Mud-busters. All right. Another good thing, made in the USA. Support US manufacturers definitely as much as we can. So in here we've got you know, a bunch of plastic rivets, and as well as some Allen head metal hardware and nuts. And then of course we have the instructions. So they send us printed instructions. I'm sure I can get online, or probably some other guys have done videos on these. I do not believe that it's gonna be a large effort to do this. Certainly doesn't look that way. Likely we will have to drill some holes though in the stock plastics. Not a big deal to me. So without further ado, let's get these things installed. All right, so we're gonna have to, there's one plastic rivet that goes in right here. That's what I've got. I didn't have the right tools because when other people use your garage, your tools end up missing. I had two of these tools, and I don't have one left, so I'm gonna have to make another trip to the store. Anyway, I didn't want everybody to watch me struggle with that. This one plastic rivet has to come out. We're going to take the front fender, and oh, by the way, when I took them out of the box, I was wrong. I had it backwards. The fronts were what I said was the front was the back, and vice versa. So the first thing that we do is we get the mud guard, and we get it onto these 3 tabs, and then this goes in next. After that, there's a specific order that they want you to drill holes. The holes are 5/16, so I believe there are 5 or 6 fasteners that we're going to put in, but we'll see as we go. There is a specific order that they want us to put those in, so let's get at it. These can be a little finicky to get on, but you can see we've got them clipped in there now. This plastic rivet goes in. Maybe. Okay, there we go. So that's tight. Then they suggest that we can, if we want, use some clamps to hold this in place. So we might do that. I might throw a clamp right there towards the top. So then you can see here, we've got multiple holes that we're gonna have to put in, and then we'll put other plastic rivets in. So there's 2, 4, 6, 7 of them. So the instructions here, I don't know if you can see them, they only call for 6. So I'm not sure what that's about. This does look a little bit different than the illustration. And what I realize here is I'm not going to be drilling any holes here without dropping the tire off or the wheel off. Maybe if I just jack it up, that'll do the trick. All right, I'm a big fan of Smarter Not Harder, so I'm just going to zap this wheel off. I've got a nice impact wrench here, so it won't take me any time at all to pull this off and to put it back on, and it'll be a lot more stress-free. So, may have been able to just turn the wheel here, but it was a whole lot easier to access everything with the wheel off. So what we don't want to do is get this thing all out of whack up in here. I don't want to force it too much into position. Just making sure that I've got somewhere to pick up these holes in here. I think that actually fits pretty well. And they're going to want us to basically I'll run through the order. So this is number 1. And then we go to 2, which is up here, 3 here, 4 here, 5 there, and 6 there. But as you can see, they're not showing us on this illustration the actual flare that I have, because I've got 2 more holes here. It comes up just a little bit higher. So this is the full coverage flap, I believe. Yeah. So these are definitely the instructions for this side. So we're just going to go ahead and follow the instructions and zap these holes in here and get these rivets put in. So number 2 right here, I believe this is about where we want it. Again, I don't want to get it all out of whack. Let's get that loose and make sure that this is fitting the way we want it. I believe we were pretty good. All right, so number 2 goes right here. You obviously don't want to drill out through the other side, so you got to be careful there. All right, so that's that one. And then we're going to go right above it and just basically work right up to the top. So bingo, easy enough. All right, so then we're gonna come back down to 5, which is here, and then 6, which is there. And then up here, I believe I'm gonna put this one in on the end first, kind of get that pulled in a little bit, and then we'll do the last one. And that's all she wrote, folks, to get the front one installed. Pretty easy. All right, so this rear fender install is pretty easy also. Up here in the bed, there are 4 holes, but we're only going to use 3 of them. So there's slits. That's where these will fit into. And then we're going to have some hardware, 3/4 inch, 1 1/4 inch, and 3/4 inch that will fasten this to the fender. We'll have to drill holes in there as well. Drill holes in the stock fender. And then, where is that? It must, yeah, it's here. So down here is where this is going to end up, and they've supplied a nut that goes on there. So let's see if we can get this fitted in here, right into those slits like that. Some mud up in here. Oh, well, there's a bracket there. So I'm not terribly worried about that. So they say that you can clamp this in place also. I'm not sure if that's going to help me a lot or not. That definitely helps, just getting that secured in there. So the tabs are where they need to be, and we're going to drill a hole up through here. Again, this is 5/16. And then in here, again, we've got different hardware. So this is the 1/4 inch, or I mean the 3/4 inch screw that goes through here. Like so. And then it gets another washer. And a nut. So what size are these? Seven 16ths inch nuts. And I believe this was a 5/32 Allen head. Yep. So I'm gonna go ahead and snug that down before I move on to the next. I'm not using my impact gun, the small Makita, because yeah, that's just not wise on this type of thing anyway. So now we move to the next one. This drills up through a heavier part, or not a heavier part, but a thicker part of the fender. So that's why we're going to use slightly different hardware. We're going to use a 1 1/4 inch bolt here. So again, the stack up is, well, let's make sure I get a 1 1/4. So that's the 1 1/4. Get a washer on the top. That's got to pull down through there. So let's go ahead and get another washer and a nut. Now this one, I could maybe use a little bit of help on. Now we got her started. And that's pulled up tight there, so that's good. And then we have the last hole here. Again, that's another thin one. So we'll get that zapped in. That's a 3/4 inch. It's a 3/4 inch. There are only 2 1 1/4s to go on here, so I personally don't like these hanging down. I don't know if I might whiz wheel them off or not. Not tonight. I'm not going to, that's for sure. All right, and then the final piece of hardware goes in here. So 2 pieces of hardware. We have a washer and another nut. They're gonna go right on here. There's an existing screw. They give you an option to put another piece of hardware through here if it's loose. But based upon what I'm seeing here, it is not gonna be loose. Of course, that is spinning and that's Torx, so I gotta get another tool. All right, so I got my Torx. Wow, the correct one was sticking out. We must use it a lot. All right, so there's that. It's installed, it's tight up against the bottom here, so I'm not gonna put this extra piece of hardware in. What I did notice though is I've got a gap here, which I'm not sure if I would have had the opportunity to move that forward based upon the tabs that were locked into. You can see the tabs here. I don't know if that would allow me to move that forward, but if I could have, that's an error on my part. I'm gonna see if I can fix that on the other side. All right, so we finished up, and the folks over at Mud-busters are nice enough to send us extra hardware. So these two, along with these nuts and the washers, those are for the extra holes that we can drill optionally. We didn't need to drill them. I'm pretty happy with the fitment, so we didn't use those. We'll keep these to the side. And they also gave us 4 extra plastic rivets. So that's kind of a rare thing for them to give you extra hardware to take care of you, but we like it. Appreciate it very much. So pretty easy installation. I'll see if I can pull it outside. Maybe we can get a better look at it now that it's getting dark. We do have some gaps here. Of course, you can see I've already busted this fender, but on the other side, we have a similar gap that we talked about. I was not able to get that gap out, so we'll just live with it. It's not that bad. So now I'm all set for the weekend. got the Mud-busters on. I can get the machine as dirty as I want because I won't have to clean it up right away to put the Mud-busters on. So thankfully they came in, like I said, and that's a good deal. I'm gonna pull it outside and see if we can get some better shots of it. If not, we'll get them tomorrow in the daylight. All right, so it's the next day. We got a little more light out here, so I just wanted to give you a walk around of what the mud flaps look like. So you can see here all of the rivets that we put in on the fronts. And then the backs, you can see here, these are the fasteners that we put in. And then underneath, and then there's one more back in there. That is a different size nut than these nuts. It's for a 6mm. So let's just give you a look at the machine with them on. I'm happy that it didn't actually make the machine wider than the tires. I've heard some folks complain about that, but that is not the case here. I am, however, running a 4+3 offset, so that makes this machine about 69 inches wide. These are the gaps that I was talking about last night. I didn't really see that I could do a whole lot better on those. See, this side has it also, but also has a broken fender because just send it. But those front guards are really nice. They provide a lot more coverage. So I'm excited to get it out on the trail today. So that's it, folks. Thanks for watching. Again, like always, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell, make sure you like and comment so that we can get better at what we're putting out there for you folks. Talk to you later. Have a great Memorial Day weekend. See ya.